Well, let's move on to other news now. Israel is advancing its war on Gaza further south, especially in Rafah at the Egypt-Israel border. The Israeli military has been ordered to operate in Gaza's Rafah. This as Netanyahu has also rejected the latest offer made by Hamas for a ceasefire to ensure the return of the remaining hostages. Fears are mounting over Israel's offensive as there is no place safe in Rafah, where 1.3 million displaced people are taking refuge. A strike hit near the entrance of a tent camp in Rafah, causing panic among the displaced Palestinians living there.
De-escalation and fast de-escalation is important for us to be done with what we are living in. We are very, very tired of the situation. It is really difficult. 120 days, no food, no water. We are very tired.
Wounded Gazans were taken to hospital after Israeli strikes on Rafah. And global leaders are cautioning on the rising civilian casualties. Families of the hostages are pressing the government for another hostage deal, while his coalition partners are against giving any concessions to Hamas. I think
their fates are not the only ones being torn apart in the Middle East, as the tornado of suffering that is war continues to crush them, and all lives are equal, invaluable in the eyes of France.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that he is especially alarmed by IDF's advancement in Rafah. Listen in.
And I'm especially alarmed by reports that the Israeli military intends to focus next on Rafah, where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been squeezed in a desperate search for safety. Such an action would exponentially increase what is already a humanitarian nightmare, with untold regional consequences.
The European Union also expressed its deep concern over the situation in Rafah. The senior EU official issued a warning saying that unless Israel and Hamas achieve a truce, unrest is likely to spread throughout the region. Meanwhile, in his highest critique, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that Israel cannot use terror attacks on October 7th as a license to dehumanize others.
Israelis were dehumanized in the most horrific way on October 7th. The hostages have been dehumanized every day since. But that cannot be a license to dehumanize others. The overwhelming majority of people in Gaza had nothing to do with the attacks of October 7th.
And while Saudi Arabia is hosting a summit of foreign ministers from 5 countries in the region on Thursday in order to advance a united Arab stance regarding the war in Gaza, as well as political initiatives for when the fighting ends. And for the very latest on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen has sent us this report. Listen in.
Israel accepted the US, Egyptian, Qatari proposal. Hamas gave a counter-proposal, including calling for a permanent ceasefire and reportedly the release of 1,500 Palestinian security prisoners, including 500 who are serving time for murder. Now, Netanyahu has said that there'll be no surrender to what he called Hamas's delusional demands. I asked Israeli government spokesperson Avi Hyman if Israel still has hope that a deal can be reached. He said that the last deal came about through military pressure on Hamas and suggested that the strategy would be now to try to reach a deal in the same way. Now, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who's on the tour, a member of West Asia, he said that there are clear non-starters in Hamas's response, but believes that there's space for an agreement to be reached. So there's lots of work to be done, he said, and he's also going to be meeting some of the hostage families on Thursday. There's huge anguish amongst the families. Some are pushing for more to be done to get a deal reached. Some are saying that this shouldn't happen at any cost, and they believe that Israel should press Hamas militarily until Hamas asks for a deal. In the meantime, negotiations are said to be continuing today.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.